All right, first up, let's get to that huge story at Manchester United, where tension is growing between the head coach Ruben Amorim and the club's hierarchy. For more on this now, we can go and join our reporter Danielle Khan, who is a very cold Salford Keys by the looks of things. Morning to you, Dan. Clearly all not well at Old Trafford. Is Amorim in danger of losing his job?
Yeah, good morning, Matt. I mean, look, I think that's a question will continue to develop throughout the day, but there's no doubt that there is an increasingly strained relationship between the Manchester United head coach and the Manchester United hierarchy, including the director of football, Jason Wilcox. And I have to say, this is something that has been building up, at least for a few weeks, in the public eye, because there has been a shift by Ruben Amorim in terms of his mood, how he's dealt with us in the media and his news conferences on Friday ahead of the game at Leeds. There was such a coldness, I would say, to the atmosphere in the room, which is so different to where there have been some low points this season after the likes of Grimsby, Brentford. He's always bounced back to really take the pressure off the situation at the club, but there was no such feeling on Friday. And look, a lot of this stress and the growing tensions between him and the hierarchy are really two reasons. I think that, first of all, the tactical approach the team have continued to take this season for the majority of the season, with Ruben Amorim being bullish for moving away from his 3-4-3 system. Now look, if you're Amorim, like he said last season, he believes that the club employed him knowing what he would like to deploy as the United head coach, and that is his system, his players that he wants. Now I think the United hierarchy would like to see some more flexibility, like they saw a few weeks ago in the win against Newcastle. We've seen Amorim revert back in back-to-back games against the likes of Wolves and then against Leeds as well, and the performances haven't been the best. Yes, he does have a limited squad to work with, but there are still slight issues. Although they are making chances, some of the highest in the league, they're not maybe making the best type of clear-cut chances. So look, there is a disconnect there. There's also a disconnect with the transfer window as well. Like any manager in January, of course, they all want to strengthen their squads in January. They were linked with Antoine Semenyo. They were exploring that option, but look, he looks like he's destined to join Manchester City. Amorim would like to see more in terms of recruitment in January, but the hierarchy believe, look, we don't want to make the mistakes of previous regimes and put the club in a bad spot financially. We know we want to strengthen the midfield this year, and if that jeopardises what we're going to do in the summer, we don't want to do that, despite being sixth and just a few points off the top four as well. So look, tensions in two areas, but how Ruben Amorim bounces back from this situation with the hierarchy remains to be seen.
Yeah, Dan, you mentioned the atmosphere in there when he said it. I can only imagine the silence and the shock that would have come with that. And it was very specific language, wasn't it? It's, I am a manager, not a head coach.
Yes, it was quite incredible being in that news conference, and I'm sure Michael can relate. Sometimes you wonder, have we just heard that from a manager or a head coach in a news conference after a game? And it really stems to like what I was saying about Friday, because there was a mood shift, and for Ruben Amorim to reiterate the message that he believes he is the manager and he wants to be the manager, not just a head coach. He also referenced the likes of Thomas Tuchel, Antonio Conte, Jose Mourinho, but also mentioned the tensions of the hierarchy. I think it was quite pointed that in what we're about to hear, he also mentioned other departments of the club, that they need to do their job, he needs to do his, and then in 18 months when his contract runs out, they'll all move on.
I just want to say that I'm going to be the manager of this team, not just the coach. And I was really clear on that. And it's going to be like this for 18 months, or when the board decided to change. I'm not going to quit. I will do my job until other guy is coming here to replace me. And that is going to finish in 18 months, and then everyone is going to move on. That was the deal. That is my job, not to be a coach. I came here to be the manager of Manchester United, not to be the coach. And every department, the scouting department, the sport director needs to do their job. I will do mine for 18 months, and then we move on.
Look, Matt, this isn't the first time, of course, Ruben Amorim has come out with some interesting comments post-match over the last 12 months or so. We heard it after Grimsby where he talked about something needing to change, for example. And like I said, he came back very well soon after that in the media. What I will say is this does feel different. Even just hearing from him there is a coldness, not maybe the necessarily emotion we're used to seeing. And like I said, this does feel different. This is a build-up of a few weeks. So it remains to be seen how he and the United hierarchy resolve the situation.
Yeah, coldness in the media room. Looks like there's a coldness where you are as well. Thanks very much, Dan. Appreciate it. Right, let's get into this then. There's a lot to digest, isn't there? Before we get on to your potential transfer movement for Manchester United, Stephen, I mean, this came out of the blue, didn't it, really? Similar to Maresca's comments the other day before he lost his job for Chelsea. Why would Amorim say these things in public?
Obviously, stuff has gone on behind the scenes that has probably forced his hand to come out and say he wants to be backed by the club. But I think if you're Manchester United as a club and if you're Ratcliffe that's running it, there's a reluctance to probably go down the line of a manager that plays a specific way and buying players for those specific positions, when if he is to leave, there's every chance a new manager's going to come in and play a different shape. 90% of managers don't play with three at the back. So if you're going to go throw all your eggs in that basket and back him to bring in players that specifically play in that system, and then in a few months he's gone, then you're ripping up again to try and get those players. So there's a reluctance, I think, there for Manchester United to go and really back him, and obviously that's what he's feeling. He's feeling that they're not going to come out and give him the funds or push him in a direction to really let them kick on for those Champions League positions, and he's letting his feelings be known, and it's basically, get behind me or sack me, and he's kind of putting them in that position.
Right, but I mean, the timing of it is interesting as well, because Maresca did something similar. We saw how that panned out. This is a high-risk game from Ruben Amorim.
It is a high-risk game. The difference is, I think, Manchester United have been so far off it that they're in a slightly better position than they have been. They're pushing towards that. They've been getting slightly better results. They've gone away from being, listen, last season was dreadful, wasn't it, when it comes to performances. So I think he feels that his team are getting closer to being the level that he needs them to be at, and maybe he feels he has that tiny little push left to get them over that line. So I think that's why he's done it. But it is a risky game, and listen, clubs often win on top when it comes to stuff like this, and there seems like there is a disconnect with him and Wilcox. You'd love to get Wilcox's opinion on this. He's an ex-player, he's played the game, he knows it, he's been around, so you'd love to get his ideas, but that's never going to happen.
Dan said there, very interesting, he said there's two possible reasons here for this problem. Tactical, in that they may have been questioning the likes of Wilcox, and others might have been questioning his formation and his decisions to change from 3 to 4 back to 3, but also transfers, of course. Now, if we look at transfers, is Amorim likely to get what he wants this month?
Well, firstly, I've never known a manager or a club to talk about a system so much in all my time working here. It's unbelievable.
Because we keep questioning his system.
As soon as he was appointed, Ruben Amorim, it's all you hear about. I think one thing that interests me is that if there's a doubt with the board, they're not going to want to put too much money into players that only fit one system. Because if another head coach or manager comes in, got to be careful what we title them now, but they won't fit the next head coach / manager's system. So, but we know how difficult January is. What interested me in this post-match yesterday, it wasn't if he was prompted. It was sort of a mic drop and then leaves the room. That's what was key for me.
We know they've got a short list of players, Manchester United, in various different positions. There it is. I mean, Carlos Baleba is someone who has been on that short list for a while. We know that central midfield has been an area that they've been targeting. The general consensus, though, is that he will not move in January to Manchester United. Just why is that the general consensus there? Well, could that change?
Well, you're dealing with Brighton and Hove Albion, who are very good in the market, they're very savvy. They're sort of 2 and 3 years ahead. They're always looking ahead. There's always talk that they know who their next head coach is. They're that forward thinking. But their stance is they're looking forward to getting him back from AFCON. No call from any club and no desire to sell him in this window. I mean, that is a buffet of quality players, isn't it? I'm not being funny. That's not a January list, is it? I mean, we could go along that list and talk about how good these players are and why they won't be leaving in January. It's a dream scenario to get any one of these players for Manchester United in January.
OK, so if Baleba's going to be hard to do in January, as I said there, central midfield.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that is the top priority for Manchester United. What other names could they go for? I mean, there's one in particular that's just there.
Anderson is the one that seems to be, you feel potentially could be pried away. He's had a recent move from Newcastle to Forest, and you kind of think maybe with the right funds in place that could be done. But I don't think anybody at this stage in the season is going to want to release their best players, especially if they're in the hunt for staying in the league, pushing on. And if United don't have the funds, which supposedly they don't, to go and actually throw a lot at it. Listen, before United would attract you, regardless of the funds they had, if you're going to Manchester United, you were going there because you wanted to play for Manchester United. It was an opportunity to go play for one of the biggest clubs, to get guaranteed Champions League football, probably win something. That's not the case anymore. So other teams will offer something slightly more than what United can offer you. So would Anderson being in a position where he goes, well, that's the one for me. If I have other options potentially in the summer, that might be better for me going forward as my career.
Do you think Wharton would be thinking similarly? I mean, with Crystal Palace, they have shown already that they will sell their best players if the right offer comes in.
Yeah, no, Palace have got rid of Eze and they've got rid of Elise in the last couple of seasons, and you just didn't think they could recover from those sales, but they somehow just keep churning around. Dropped off recently. Wharton's another one that you feel he's very much entrenched in how they play. Gay's the other one if he was to go, but you kind of feel like Palace, they can't be in a position where they're guaranteed to lose Gay in the summer, and Wharton let him go now. Like, that's almost too much in the position that it's starting to drop off league-wise in the form. Glasner, again, he's a manager. Is he going to still be there? I just think you're absolutely shooting yourself in the foot if you let him go at this stage in the season.
If you were Manchester United and you could get one of those three, say all for the same price,
Wharton's,
you take Wharton over Anderson and Baleba? Yeah, why?
I can see Wharton playing for Real Madrid.
Yeah, I just think, his all-round game, I just think there's something about him. He's got confidence. I hate labelling players that are like other players, but he has a Declan Rice-ish kind of, the way he moves, the way he passes the ball, his vision. He's strong on the tackle. I just think he could play in that midfield and be comfortable and allow those forward players as well to do it. So for me, Wharton would be the one I'd be bringing in.
I mean, you look at the league table and United are in a decent-ish position. I mean, no European football for Manchester United Football Club is absolutely unheard of, but they've had a bit of a reset. You kept hearing last season about Tottenham finishing 17th. Well, United finished quite close to Spurs, and it was whoever won that trophy would have a good season. United are out of Europe for one season, but they need to get back in it. Ideally, the Champions League. Of course, players are injured. They're away at AFCON, but
so it's not a big opportunity for them. When you look, it could be top 5 again for the Champions League. And there are teams that are stuttering, trying to get into that top 5. Liverpool not playing that well. They're 4th. Chelsea just above Manchester United. They are in the mix for the Champions League. It's now not the time to really make a push. If you can, make a big statement signing in January and just get into that top 5 Champions League next year.
I think if you can bring a player in that's also going to reduce the capabilities of your teams around you, you're stopping them signing them also. It just helps you, doesn't it? And the confidence that would give to the group. I think my biggest bugbear with United and the way that people talk about it is that there's always talk about these players have to be able to play his specific shape. Like, as a player, you should be able to play any shape a manager plays for you. You shouldn't have to be like, listen, your career be limited if you can only play one position and only play to a style that one manager suits you. So, they should be able to bring players in. So that there seems to be that disconnect or that kind of loggerhead between Amorim and the board, whereas I think they should be able to get players in that should be able to suit everything they need. And if he goes, then someone else can be able to do that.
And surely if he's questioned his own future again and walking out like he did yesterday, but sort of the mic drop, surely again that puts into further doubt that he'll be getting the players he wants for this system he keeps going on.
Yeah, they're not going to back him if you're going to go against them like that. There's no way they're going to throw the money in, especially if they're limited to what they have.
We need to touch on the striker situation as well, Michael, because they've also been linked with Jean-Philippe Mateta, who has been, I guess, tearing up trees, hasn't he, really, for a few months now for Crystal Palace, and not quite as good in the last few games. But if they went for someone like Mateta, they've already put a lot of eggs in the Šeško basket. So would this be a massive vote of no confidence in Šeško if they went out and got another well-known striker? Because presumably they can't play them both in the same side.
Well, I think United have liked Mateta for a while. The only thing I can imagine is if Oliver Glasner's watching this now, he'd be saying no chance. And I think what Crystal Palace do well as well is that take Mark Gay, for instance. Oliver Glasner said, please no, we haven't got a chance this season if Mark Gay goes to Liverpool on this deadline day. It's not always that important if he would enter the final year of his deal from July, but how much would it affect Crystal Palace now if they sold their top striker to Manchester United? You can kiss goodbye to Conference League and, you know, a safe decent mid-table finish or anything higher in the Premier League. So I can't see that for Manchester United at all. But we'll wait and see, because he is a long-term admirer at Manchester United.
Start off, Tam. Absolutely. Again, given the circumstances at this point, I think the performance was should have been there.
I think we did well. We improved a lot of things that compared to the last game. We controlled quite well the aggressivity of the offensive from Leeds. We controlled well 1-against-1. A really good environment, a really fun environment, and they did well. We controlled more the possession, the connection, the position of the players. I think they were in the better positions to play, and that can show in the way we played. We had more chances than the opponent to score, but we need to now to think about the next one.
In terms of Josh Resiliency and Lasai's good assistant goal, how important will that be going to them, especially with the praise as you have had?
It's really important. I think Ben improved in the connection today. Josh, the 20 minutes that he played, he was active. He was creating chances, creating spaces for us. So it's important. Also, Manu played better today and helped the team also to create chances. Was better than last week.
You made a big decision in the summer when Rasmus went away, Spring Benjamin here. His goals are not there. Could you just explain what he's bringing to the team, because he missed a couple of chances?
First of all, to miss the chances that he's missing is always there. And that is the first step. He's really aggressive when the ball goes to the side. He's really aggressive when he has to fight for the first ball. Of course, when you look at the game of a striker, if you miss chances, they will say that the player did everything wrong. I don't agree. I think he's in the right position. He just needs to score one, and then all the weight that he has on top of him is going to disappear, and he's going to be better.
Mark?
Just on Sessio, there was a couple of occasions in the first half where he was made frustrated at the inability of people like Dallo and Shaw to get the ball too quickly. Do you think that the players are not finding it quick, but the ball's too slow or too wavy? Does he need better service?
No, I think we did. If you tell me that in the different game today, we need to have possessions, especially in this kind of environment. If we are losing the ball all the time, if we are trying to be the team that we was in the past with a lot of transitions all the time, we don't want to play like that. We want to prepare better the way we played. We play better than compared to the last week. And we were talking 2 seconds ago about the chances that Ben had. So we are creating chances for Ben. He just need to score one, and then all the weight is going to be easy for Ben. So we are creating chances for the strikers.
Sorry, and again, do you feel like there's been an upgrade on the player that went out in Rasmus Højlund and to bring in Benjamin?
Is the characteristics of the player. Ben is completely different from Rasmus. Rasmus had this moment here. He move on. We bring Seško. We will try to Seško to score goals.
Is he keeping his morale high even on the goal?
Of course, he needs to. The pressure of being the striker for Manchester United. He's doing the right things. He needs to improve the last moment. That is the most important moment, because he did things that he did well today. He just need to score one.
Tara?
Hi, Ruben. Josh's impact coming off the bench there, we've not seen a lot of that times this season. Very SACKED player making impact off the bench. Is that why you'd be reluctant to lose a player like that in this wing? Obviously, be linked with Roma. You kind of need somebody who can come on and change the game, and he did that a week.
No, Josh needs to be prepared to play in every game, and all the players need to be ready to play. If you play for 20 minutes, you need to play 20 minutes to help the team. He does that, so he's a player from our team, and that's it.
Okay, last question for James. Ruben, even in difficult weeks this season, you're always very upbeat.
Obviously, just on Friday, you look pretty downbeat. See, talking about transfers and systems. Can I just ask? Is nothing's changed? You still feel
very much that confidence from the board and everything.
Guys, to stop with that, and I noticed that you receive selective information about everything. I came here to be the manager of Manchester United, not to be the coach of Manchester United. And that is clear. I know that my name is not Tuchel, it's not Conte, it's not Mourinho, but I'm the manager of Manchester United. And it's going to be like this for 18 months, or when the board decided to change. So that was my point. I want to finish with that. I'm not going to quit. I will do my job until other guy is coming here to replace me.
Do you feel that, maybe certain assurances around things about the ability to manage this team that you thought you had? Do you not feel that?
I just want to say that I'm going to be the manager of this team, not just the coach. And I was really clear on that. And that is going to finish in 18 months. And then everyone is going to move on. That was the deal. That is my job, not to be a coach. If people cannot handle the Gary Nevilles and the criticisms of everything, we need to change the club. No, guys, I just want to say that I came here to be the manager of Manchester United, not to be the coach. And every department, the scouting department, the sport director needs to do their job. I will do mine for 18 months and then we move on.
All right, thank you, guys. Thank you.
United at the moment, in the absence of Ahmad and Bruno and Mbeumo and Mason Mount, that this fella stood up today?
Well, it definitely is. I mean, they need more like him, don't they? And they went proven over the summer, getting Mbeumo, getting Cunha, which I thought was the right thing to do. They took a couple of risks as well, going to the foreign market, Šeško being one of them. But with all those names that you've just mentioned, it was always going to be tough this time of the year because everybody knew AFCON was coming, so a couple of players were going to leave anyway. But then you add in injury suspensions this time of the season as well. So, listen, if Manchester United are going to have a good season, it's going to be down to a handful of players, and he's one of them. He's so important to this team. They haven't really got so many great attacking players, creative players, so you need them all ready, available and fit. And at the moment, he's probably the only one that you would say is a real talent that would start no matter what. So of course the pressure's on him more so, or the responsibility is on him more so. And he delivered today, you would say.
He had to equalise after Leeds had taken the lead. The tails were up at this point when Aronson scored.
Yeah, Leeds sort of came out of nothing. It's just a clearance, I think, that goes in behind, and we're watching it and we're thinking there's no way he can get there, and then Brendan, he just somehow gets in, and it's a great finish, to be fair, and just what Ellen Road probably needed at that point. And as you say, Leeds then had their tails up, and it's just a real shame that they couldn't see it out for longer and sort of keep Man United at bay. But you see here, Aronson, he probably doesn't believe he can get there, and then he manages to do it, and it's a great finish with his left foot. Something he's probably not known for is using his left foot, but he does well to take his first touch across the defender and then slots it away.
That's the key, isn't it? Takes heaven out of the game by cutting across him. It's textbook, attacking play, that is. Direct to goal, but taking the defender out by cutting across him, and then that angle, that distance out, it's always a lovely combination. You always get a big gap from that type of angle, and he slots it home well. Just wonder, heaven, I thought he reacted quite slowly. Didn't get into his stride quick enough. He's miles behind his man. Ahead of his man. I mean, he plays the ball there, and then he drops into a real safe position as well. He's miles ahead here. I just think those first 3 or 4 yards, he almost...
I don't know if he sees him.
Well, exactly. I think he's a bit lackadaisical.
Yeah. He would have run quicker if he'd seen him, surely.
You think so?
Well, you'd think so. You can't really see it from this angle here, but it's just there, that glance. He realises, and then by that stage it's too late. As Michael says, he's just reacted a bit late.
Yeah. Well, as I say, Leeds led for only 174 minutes, but just 2 minutes prior to the equaliser came a significant moment. They introduced Joshua Zirkzee, who, as you said, was rightly hauled off at half-time the other day. Wasn't picked today. He had a hand in the equaliser, and he really did have a hand in the game from then on.
He did. He showed some really lovely touches. I thought it was a very, very well-worked goal as well. I don't think the Leeds goalkeeper handled himself in glory there. But from a Manchester United point of view, the 3 attacking players, we link them all. Though Leeds will be pretty happy with where they all are at the moment. But you get this natural thing that we see quite a lot of the time, the middleman coming out, in this case Sesko, and then runners from the outside, in this case it's Cunha, and Xerxes just drops in to play the ball to all 3 of the attacking players. Now I think the goalkeeper, if he stays back, he saves this. I mean, Cunha's stretching, he's sliding, he can't get enough power on the ball anyway. He's in an okay area, but you really need everything in your favour to be scoring from that angle. And the goalkeeper's just gone and made it easy for him. I think the goalkeeper he basically gives them the goal there. But Xerxes' weight of pass, the bend on the pass as well, outside of the defence, curling back towards the goal. It's a lovely ball. And as I say, when he came on, he had some real touches. And I just really, I don't know, praise to him really, because imagine his mind at the moment. He mustn't know what's happening. He scores a goal, gets dragged off at half-time, left on the bench, then come and save us again, bring you up. He must be thinking, does he like me? Does he not? I'm scoring, great.
I think so. It was quite a hard-fought game. It really came to life at the end. I think if we had that intensity we got in the last 5 minutes, it would have been an even better game. But I think for United to get back in so quickly, that was so important, because you felt like Leeds were really starting to build something.
They really did as well, pile on the pressure in the last sort of 5-10 minutes of the game too. Leeds,
it was a proper derby. It was kicking off in the last 5 minutes, and that's what you kind of want to see. Everybody was competing, tackles flying in, and I thought the game was it was quite tight. Throughout the whole contest, really, possession-wise, shots-wise, it was tight. But the last 5 minutes, it just felt like there was a bit of edge to it.
Yeah.
And to be fair to the manager, Daniel Farke, he put some subs on. He wants to be positive and be aggressive and try and win the game. And they almost did it, Leeds.
Yeah, for Leeds as well, it shows how far they've come as a team, not just under the guidance of Daniel Farke, but that they're promoted to the Premier League and also can hold Manchester United to a draw.
Yeah, I think that's the belief that they've got at the moment. They feel they can go toe-to-toe with anyone, especially here at Ellen Road. The confidence, we could feel it when we were here before kick-off. They were so confident going into the game, but they just weren't quite able to execute. Like we saw them after the game. They were so disappointed they didn't get the 3 points today.
Yeah, they're on an unbeaten run of 7 games. You can see they're on your screen now. Let's have a look at the first goal, Brennan Aronson, and how he managed to score it and how it was built up.
But he's such a good player technically, and he just gambles. He just sees this. The weight to the pass, Joe, is amazing, and the finish, Joe, is perfect.
Yeah, on that left foot, see Pascal just strokes it into his path here. Heaven just caught out of position, but Aronson says, I'm getting to that ball, gets himself in front, makes it impossible for Heaven to intervene here. That little arm movement there.
So clever.
Whilst you're in the box, perfect position, but to left foot dead weight it past Lemons, really good finish.
He does so well there with 3 players around him, so for that composure, Owen.
Do you know, technically he's a really good player. He's really good on the ball. He's a number 10 and he wants to get on the ball. But actually, one of the most important things is making runs in behind. And he just has a feel for that moment. Joe makes a great point. The touch across Heaven allows him to finish, and the finish is just perfect.
He's been given a heavy amount of criticism in the past, which Daniel Farke has come out and explained. Look, yeah, he frustrates me sometimes too as well, but he doesn't think that criticism necessarily is warranted. He's shown Daniel Farke that he's versatile too, and he can play in many different positions and give him what he needs.
Yeah, he's a quality player, and he was probably our pick and man of the match. Obviously, Lucy's gone with Cunha, but he was all over the pitch. He puts himself and his body on the line, but it's always nice to top it off with the goal, with the assists. He's got, I think, his top assists in the team this year, and to get his second goal, really important for him to keep building.
Yeah, it didn't take long for Manchester United to equalise, did it, Owen?
No, and to be fair, at that point you thought, this could be a really long day. Xerxes comes off the bench, and within a minute and a half, completely changes. Sesko does really well, comes in short, sets it. Cunha runs in behind, and the way to pass, Joe, was brilliant.
Yeah, I think everyone's turned straight to me. What's Perry doing where he is? But it's just the weight of pass. Finally, a good bit of build-up play. Sesko laying it off. And Xerxes, that timing just sucks him out. And once he's out, he makes Cunha's mind up. He's on the stretch. I think if you look back at this, when you go into the analysis room on Monday, you're going to say, did I need to come? But I think it was just such a clever ball by Xerxes and a really good finish.
I think United look better when they do that, when they play a little bit quicker. Sometimes people take too many touches and try and carry the ball through the midfield. Just play quick, a little quick set from Sesko. Yeah. Cunha makes a great one, and from Xerxes, it's a great ball. And I think when they play quickly like that, United look more dangerous.